who better than me?
Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy Bass the Kid. Haven't done as many uploads this week as I would have liked, but you know, it is what it is. Things happen. There have been a few decent topics that I want to talk about, so I'll get into those. Please like and subscribe, click the notifications, and yeah, I thank everyone who does tune in to every episode, or the majority of the episodes, or even everyone maybe once in a while. Maybe you've come to one, haven't come back, maybe come back like a week, 2 weeks down the line. I appreciate all the views, all the suggestions, everything that's in the comments. I'll react to everybody. So without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes. So I guess the first thing to talk about would be the most recent news that has occurred, which is Frank Warren has beat Eddie Hearn in yet another purse bid, and this is for the Demetrius Andrade versus Zach Parker interim WBO super middleweight title fight. Eddie and Matchroom put in a bid of I think $1.75 million, and Frank put in a bid of 1.862, something along those lines. Now, on the surface, you have to say that's yet another win for Frank Warren and Queensberry against Matchroom. And it's not just the Tyson Fury fight that they've won previously. They've actually won quite a few of these purse bids against each other. Now, you could say it's maybe not good to give your rivals and opponents small victories or victories at all against you. So does DAZN have a bigger budget than Queensberry? Maybe. I would assume they do, but I'm not 100% sure. However, the question here is who came out on the better side of this one. Now, me personally, I really like Demetrius Andrade. By the way, happy birthday for tomorrow. His birthday is on the 26th of February, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. But when you look at this fight, you say, does this fight do business in America? Which is ultimately where he would take the fight, because I don't really think Eddie would have won it and then brought it over here. I don't think Andrade would have bothered to come over here for Zach Parker. No disrespect to Zach Parker, but so then you say, okay, so you'd have to do that fight in America. But then you look at it and you say to yourself, well, does that do any future subscriptions on DAZN? It's another Jason Quigley or Luke Keeler. Maybe the Liam Williams one, you might say, did a little bit, who knows. But these aren't big fights that are getting the casuals interested, and probably the hardcores, if they haven't already got their subscription, they ain't buying a new subscription just for it. So you say that, then you're like, okay, so more than likely Frank and Queensberry will do the show over here. On this hand, I actually feel like this was similar to the Tyson one. If I'm going to be totally honest, after the money that Queensberry threw down on that one, along with Top Rank, like, yeah, no other broadcaster was gonna put that kind of money on that. This one, you've got Demetrius Andrade making over $1.1 million, and Zach Parker making about 648. So hey, he gets a nice payday. DAZN don't have to foot the bill, don't have to promote the show, don't have to do anything apart from turn up. I guess Eddie, if he's his promoter, then he'll probably be involved in the show in some form or capacity. And you know, if Andrade is still the top dog and is big enough to carry the weight and take the shots at 168, which you probably won't be taking a huge amount of anyway, then it's like an easy, you know, it's easy money away from home. He'll come over here, maybe get some more UK fans, supposedly beat Zach Parker, go on to the David Benavidez fight, as that's the one that's been rumored next. So look, when losing the purse bid ain't great, but this looks to me like one of those strategic losses where it's actually a good loss to have, because now you've saved yourself money, you've put all the onus on your opponent's camp to have to, you know, do what they do in order to generate a profit. And yeah, although don't be surprised if this ends up on BT Sport box office, that's all I'm saying. And if it does, I will be watching it the day after. We'll leave it there. Speaking of purse bids, Filip Hrgović and Zhilei Zhang, they have actually had their purse bid as well. There were 2 bids, and Matchroom and Wasserman won the purse bid at $650,000, which is pretty much, I believe, the exact same money that was offered between Filip Hrgović and Michael Hunter back in, what was that, the end of 2020, start of 2021. So look, the money ain't really great for the Hrgović fight, which tells you why so many people turned it down beforehand. I think the only other competition was Pro Box. I think they bid like $410,000 or something like that. So this is why almost nobody took that Hrgović fight. Very high risk with little to no reward, especially when he would be getting the lion's share, which I believe is like, again, 65-35, something along those lines. But hey, the fight's now agreed, or it will be shortly. So yeah, let's get a date rolling for that, and all good. I mean, I'm interested in the fight. I feel like I know how it's gonna be. I feel it'll be a Zhang fight early on, and then a Hrgović fight later. But when it's announced, I'll probably go into a bit more detail on that. You got Alexander Usyk has come out and basically, like everyone else, called Tyson Fury a liar, where Fury said that Usyk, you know, was ducking him, didn't want the smoke, he was easy work. And Usyk basically came out and said, I've never turned down a fight. I would fight him tomorrow. I would fight him today with my bare knuckles. Or words to those effect. I don't have the direct quote, but I do know that is what Usyk has come out saying. Now, when we look at this comment, there's no way we cannot believe Alexander Usyk here over Tyson Fury. So we've got Igor Klimas, who came out and said Fury's team, or Fury himself, didn't want to take the Usyk fight. There was negotiations and it was his team that stalled it. Eddie Hearn came out and said Fury was the one who wanted AJ to step aside and White to step aside so he could have a warm-up or a gimme fight before trying to fight Usyk in the summer. You had Bob and Frank basically confirm that by saying Usyk wouldn't be ready until June, and Tyson's only had one fight in 2 years, so he needs to be active. So he needed to fight around from February up to April anyway. So within a roundabout way, everyone basically came to the conclusion and said without saying that he didn't want to fight Usyk next. So we have that on record from everyone, even though all the stories are slightly different, but they all came to the same conclusion. Alexander Usyk, on the other hand, how can we attribute a ducking claim to him when his whole career shows the total opposite at this point? I mean, we're talking about Marco Huck in Germany. We're talking about Michael Hunter in America, in the USA. We're talking about Maris Briedis in Latvia. We're talking about Murat Gassiev in Russia. We're talking about Tony Bellew and Tony Bellew, Derek Chisora, and Anthony Joshua, all in the UK. Like, none of these fights happened in his back garden. He traveled to all of these people's homes and beat them within their own cities or their own countries. Undisputed at cruiserweight, unified heavyweight champion. Thus far, we've not heard of him avoiding or taking the easy roads or the easy touch to get anywhere. So I have a hard time believing that he would not want to take a Tyson Fury fight, especially when he's clearly said several times his goal is undisputed heavyweight champion. And when he says it, I believe him, because that was his goal at cruiserweight and he achieved it. He has 3 of the 4 major belts. He wants that 4th one. So provided he gets through the Anthony Joshua rematch, that's on his horizon. So yeah, I'm not going to take too much time about this, because ultimately I believe we all know, like, if there's one of these guys within this story who's more likely to tell a lie or to pull out of fights or maybe want to delay them and do other things before the big fights happen, well, we know whose name that's more attributed to than the other. So I'll leave that one there. But yeah, I just wanted to address that real quick. I guess the biggest news of the week comes from Dillian Whyte officially signing his portion of the WBC mandatory agreement between him and Tyson Fury. Now, this whole saga was quite funny. Like, everyone losing their mind because Dillian wasn't saying anything, wasn't talking, like no one knew what was going on. To me, I always said, look, it's like, why is everyone worried about this before there's a deadline? Like, there's deadlines for things for a reason. You don't worry about an issue until the deadline's passed and something hasn't happened. And ultimately, the contract was signed. Now, here's the most telling thing. So, you've got Dillian Whyte, hasn't played in, hasn't said anything to Tyson Fury. All of these social media uploads that Tyson's doing day in, day out, like losing his mind, going crazy. He signs the contract. Now, all of a sudden, as soon as he signs the contract, Tyson Fury, oh, I'm taking a social media break, I'm going on blackout, I'm not running any of my social media, don't call me, don't text me, don't Skype me, don't fly in on the magic carpet, like, just leave me and respect my privacy. I'm going to go and treat him like the proper opponent that he is. Whereas the other day he was a bum, he was a sausage, he was a useless dosser, he was gonna get smashed to bits, but now all of a sudden you respect him as the opponent. So is this marketing? Is this you trying to now sell this as a credible fight, whereas you and your team previously said that he wasn't that good of an opponent, but now because of all the money that you got on the line, like, oh, now he's a credible fight, I'm gonna train for him like he's the killer that he actually is. To me, this is rattled 101. Couldn't get a reaction out of him. He's not giving you anything to buy on. Now the contract's signed, you've lost your bottle to start to actually carry on with the antics. Like, because at first you said, oh, why haven't you signed the contract? You're an idiot if you don't sign the contract. Sign the contract. He signs the contract, and all of a sudden there was, oh yeah, he signed the contract. Well, he's an idiot for signing the contract. So he's an idiot if he doesn't sign it, and he's an idiot if he does. Make that make sense. you can't have it both ways. Whether this guy's bipolar, just a liar, just whatever, like, you can't continuously contradict yourself and be taken seriously. And I feel like it's about time that the media, the general media as a whole, hold him accountable to the stuff that he says. But outside of that, because this isn't one of those type of videos, I ain't really got too much energy for that. I just find it funny that prior to the contract being signed, you had all this talk, but now all of a sudden, oh, respect my privacy, I need to be left alone while I train for this fight. The most telling thing outside of all of this is we don't know when the press conference is going to happen, but I'm assuming there will probably be one next week, maybe the week after, for the fight to happen, 6 weeks after that, if give or take. Where's the buzz for this fight? I mean, look, I know it's 6 weeks out, but there's no huge buzz for the fight. There's no there's no venue been announced, or they haven't even spoken about which ones are likely in the running at this point. So I'm just wondering where these these 1 million to 2 million buyers are coming from, because from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. And unless them pay-per-views are gonna be put out at like £40, and I'll tell you now, if that pay-per-view's anything above £25, I'm not paying for it. And that's not because it's not a great fight, don't get me wrong, it is, but I'm just talking about, we have a certain structure here, and that's not, it's a very big fight. Dillian obviously has his own market and his own marquee value, but it's not like a super fight. It's not an undisputed at heavyweight. It's not like a super grudge match. It's a mandatory. That should be £20-25. If it's 30, I may do a 30. Anything above 35, no, because anything above 30, sorry, like, not happening, because ultimately pay-per-view itself should be reserved like for the biggest and baddest, and they should also, if you're going to do pay-per-view, they need to be scaled correctly. You can't sell me Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte for more than £30 over here. Like in the US, I know they've got their own madness and structures over there, but that's their model, which has been that way forever. Our model, as of just 2 years ago, was $14.99 or $16.98 or $16.95, sorry, $17.95. like, that's within £20 is the pay-per-view market. We had AJ went and pushed it up to £25 after the, what was it? It was not the Pulev fight, it was the fight just before that, the Ruiz rematch. So yeah, like, if they think that they're gonna up the prices and make the money back that way, rude awakening, because a lot of people won't buy it. I will be one of those people not buying it. And furthermore, because I know Dillian isn't getting any of this pay-per-view upside, I've got no interest necessarily in putting money into the promotion anyway. And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of his supporters are feeling that same way. And this isn't even a Dillian Whyte support video or anything like that. I'm just literally saying, like, I'm not the biggest Tyson Fury fan, right? So that's regardless of who he's fighting. I don't really like him as a character, as a person, as a boxer. He's a good boxer, but I feel he's vastly overrated, or he just happens to be in an era of not that great boxers comparatively, to be honest. So I don't buy into the narrative that people throw at him, and he's definitely, to me, not a superstar, and he's not someone I want to put money into and support like that. So I will buy it if it's reasonably priced, but if they try to overprice it because they know they're not going to get the buyers, generally speaking, I definitely will not be purchasing. But ultimately, Dillian signed the contract, so now all the big talk from Fury and the rest of the team out the window. So what are you going to do next? So now all of a sudden he's a credible opponent. Makes sense, don't it? Anyway, look, I'm gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna do my prediction videos. I'm gonna drop one of those. I'm gonna drop on Saturday. I'm gonna do both the events, so I'll do the one for Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, and then I'll do the Okoli and Cislak within the same video. But I might do one part of it on Friday and then the other part on Saturday. and my review of the weekend will probably take place. You'll either get it first thing Monday morning, because I will be at the Okoli fight, so I'll either do the review as soon as I come back, or it will drop first thing on Tuesday morning, as to not clash with any undefeated content. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Everyone, thanks for watching. I need to get a couple more videos. I need to be a bit more active during the week, but my weeks have just been hella long. Like, if you knew the kind of working schedule I was on at the minute, it's a bit peak, so I don't get enough time to do as much of these as I should and as I want to. But don't worry, I might even just start trying to do like everyone else and just literally do one segment at a time and just put those out on their own and maybe upload content that way. I'm not sure. We'll see where we get to, but to be honest, I prefer talking like this, the big episodes. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that for now. Like and subscribe, as I said. Thank you for watching, and for right now, Hardcore Casual out.